Have you ever felt like you're doing everything right, but the more you want something, the further it seems to slip away, like the universe is playing tricks on you? I felt that way for a long time, until I discovered a truth no one ever told me. And when I finally understood the real reason why my manifestations kept going wrong, it was like a blindfold was lifted from my eyes. I used to wake up every day trying to keep a positive mindset. I wrote affirmations. I practiced creative visualization. I told myself, I am prosperous. I am abundant. I attract love. I deserve everything I desire. And still, I manifested lack, silence, closed doors, the wrong people, situations that left me feeling anxious, insecure, or simply frustrated. And the worst part, I blamed the universe. I said, what's the point? This only works for other people. But deep down, a part of me knew the problem wasn't the law of attraction. It was my vibration. It was my energy field sending out signals I didn't even realize until one day, after yet another week filled with blocks, I sat down in silence and asked myself, okay, let's be brutally honest. What do you really feel when you think about your desires? And that's when everything began to change, because the answer hit me like an arrow. Fear, yes. Fear. Fear of not getting it. Fear of getting my hopes up. Fear of losing it. Fear of failing again. And I realized something important. Behind every desire, there was a hidden emotion of lack. A silent cry of it's not mine yet. It's still far away. Maybe I don't deserve it. And the universe doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you vibrate. It was like I said, I want love, but I vibrated loneliness. I want money, but I vibrated scarcity. I want freedom, but I vibrated fear of the future. That's when I finally understood. Manifestation isn't about what you want. It's about who you are while you're wanting. My vibrational field was saying the opposite of what my words were speaking. And the most shocking part, this is more common than you think. So many people believe they're manifesting correctly just because they repeat affirmations or write things down. But if you spend the rest of your day worrying, comparing yourself to others, silently complaining, or feeling small, I hate to say it, but you're co-creating exactly what you want to avoid. And it's not your fault. No one teaches us how to manage our vibrational emotions. No one tells us that the energy of frustration attracts more frustration. And that's why, no matter how good your intentions are, your manifestation comes out wrong, incoherent, out of alignment. That's when I discovered the true power of powerful intention. Because when you desire from fear, you send out a message of insecurity. But when you desire from vibrational confidence, you become a magnet. It's not about forcing reality. It's about convincing your energy field that it's already yours, and that changes everything. I started working on my vibration from the inside out. I didn't begin by asking for $1 million or the love of my life. I started by asking for peace, and every day, before any affirmation, I would ask myself, what is my body feeling right now? What is my frequency emitting in this moment? And from that genuine vibrational alignment, things started to happen. Small synchronicities, doors opening without me knocking, people showing up with unexpected offers, messages that felt like direct answers to my visualizations. That's when I understood what it really means to co-create your desired reality. It's much less about wanting hard and much more about feeling true. When I changed the base of my manifestation from anxiety to gratitude, from urgency to trust, from fear to alignment, my life began to reflect what I was truly emanating. And maybe you're reading this right now because you needed to hear this. You're not manifesting the opposite because you're unlucky. You're just sending out signals you don't realize. But the good news is, you can change that now, not tomorrow, not when everything is perfect. Now, because your new reality already exists. It's already vibrating in the field. But it can only come closer when you stop vibrating the opposite. Magnetic attraction isn't about pulling something in from the outside. It's about becoming it on the inside. What I discovered, and it was hard to accept at first, is that the more we want something desperately, the more the universe sees it as lack. It was hard to see that in myself. I thought I was spiritual. I believed in the law of attraction. I knew all the teachings about energy, gratitude, visualization. But deep inside, in my quietest moments, what I really carried was doubt and scarcity. And when I understood that the universe doesn't respond to what I want, it responds to what I am, I began to see everything with new eyes. For example, for years I said I wanted to attract an abundant life. But do you know what happened when I received an unexpected amount of money? I spent it with fear, with guilt, with the feeling that it would disappear quickly, with the old belief that money goes fast or money is hard to keep. The result, even if I managed to co-create a financial gain here and there, it didn't last, because my real vibration was one of insecurity and limitation. The same thing happened with relationships. I affirmed that I wanted true love, but deep down, I still believed that people would disappoint me, that if I gave too much, I'd be left behind. That love hurts, and the universe, wise and sensitive as it is, mirrored exactly the frequency of my fear, not the beautiful desire I spoke out loud. That's when everything clicked for me. It's not what you say, it's what you feel. And what you feel consistently becomes your magnetic field. I started reviewing every area of my life. I grabbed a notebook and wrote, what do I say I want? What do I truly believe I can have? What do I actually feel when I think about it? And the answers were brutal. I said I wanted success, but I believed I would be judged if I grew. I said I wanted freedom, but I was afraid of making mistakes if I left my comfort zone. I said I wanted peace, but I maintained habits of self-pressure and guilt. That's when I began a vibrational cleanse. Yes, a full reset of my mind and energy field. I started saying no to anything that fed scarcity. I stopped consuming content that made me doubt myself. I distanced myself from conversations that reinforced limitations. And for the first time, I allowed myself to reprogram my powerful intention. Intention isn't just desire. Intention is the internal state with which you send that desire to the universe. It's the emotion behind the thought, and that changes everything from that moment on. I started desiring from a much higher place. not from lack, but from inner abundance, not from neediness, but from deep connection, not from desperation, but from energetic certainty. And that began to unlock the flow of my manifestations. One day, still in this process, I found myself smiling for no reason, not because something amazing had happened, but because, for the first time, I felt at peace with my frequency. I was vibrating lightly, confidently, wholly. And what happened in the weeks that followed was unbelievable. Small miracles began to appear. People I hadn't seen in years reached out with unexpected invitations. Opportunities showed up without any effort. Money that had been stuck was released. Solutions I thought were impossible resolved themselves. All of it came without desperation, without anxiety, without force. That's when I truly understood the power of magnetic attraction. When you are aligned with your truth, with your purest vibration, the universe comes to you. You don't have to chase. You only need to become compatible with the life you want to live. And that is the greatest secret of all. Most people talk about asking, desiring, doing techniques, but they forget the most important part. Who are you being while you ask? Because if you ask with doubt, you receive more doubt. If you ask with fear, you receive more fear. But if you ask with unshakable faith, with preemptive gratitude, with energetic certainty, you accelerate the manifestation. And that's what I began to practice every day. Feel before having, vibrate before seeing, celebrate before touching. Because the desired reality doesn't arrive for those who ask with desperation. It arrives for those who already feel it's theirs. And maybe you're here, listening to this, because this is the missing piece. Maybe your mind is doing everything right, but your body vibrates the opposite. And the universe is simply reflecting you. But the good news is, you can change that now, at any moment, because you are the creator of your reality. You always have been. You just need to reclaim your field. And that was the moment everything started to align. When I understood that I didn't need to fake confidence, I needed to cultivate it from within. Even if nothing on the outside had changed yet. Funny thing is, even with all the proof that my frequency was attracting new possibilities, my mind still tried to sabotage me. It would say, what if this doesn't last? What if it's just luck? What if it all falls apart again? And here's another truth that almost no one talks about. Even after raising your vibration and consciously co-creating, the old patterns still try to pull you back. And that's okay, because that's part of the expansion process. It's not about never feeling fear again. It's about recognizing fear, looking at it with love, and saying, I see you, but I choose to vibrate differently now. I started to notice it in small reactions. An email that was delayed, and I'd want to spiral into worry. A message left unread, and the old pattern of rejection would creep in. But instead of falling into autopilot, I would breathe, close my eyes, and ask myself, what does this situation want to teach me about my vibration? This simple habit changed everything, because I began to see that life is always reflecting back my vibration. Every delay, every no, every silence, they weren't punishments. They were invitations. Invitations to realign my frequency. And when you accept that invitation, something magical happens. You stop being a victim and become the creator of your reality again. I began to see every trigger as a reminder, every discomfort as a signal, and every time I chose to respond with presence instead of desperation, I felt my energy field grow stronger, and then something even deeper happened. I started to manifest not only what I wanted, but things I never imagined were possible, experiences I had never considered, people vibrating at the same frequency as me, synchronicities so precise they felt like scenes from a movie. And it all began to flow with a lightness I once thought was impossible, because now I wasn't trying to force the universe to deliver. I was simply becoming compatible with the life I wanted to live. And this is the greatest truth of all. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are. And being, in this case, isn't about what you show to others. It's about your energy when no one is watching. It's about the emotion you feed in silence. It's about what you vibrate when you're lying alone in bed before falling asleep. And it was in that intimate space that I changed the most. I began to treat my frequency like a sacred garden. Every day, I watered it with gratitude, trimmed the thoughts that no longer served me, silenced the external noise, protected my energy field from vibrations that weren't mine. And the more I took care of my inner world, the more the outer world responded, without effort, without rushing, without despair. Because when your inner world is vibrationally aligned, your outer world rearranges itself to reflect it. And yes, I still have challenging days, but now I no longer see those days as punishment. I see them as compasses. Compasses showing me where I'm vibrating out of alignment with my truth. And that awareness gave me back a power I thought I had lost. The power to choose again. Because at every moment, you have two options. Feed the fear or trust the flow. Co-create with anxiety or vibrate with presence. And it was by making that choice over and over again that I watched my reality rebuild itself, not through magic, but through vibrational consistency. And maybe that's what you needed to remember today. You're not broken. You're just out of alignment. And with every energetic choice, you realign. With every new thought, you shift your path. With every emotion you embrace, you raise your frequency. There's no such thing as delay when the soul wakes up. There's no such thing as mistake when you realize everything was preparation. You're not being punished. You're being refined. And if everything feels dark right now, it's because your light is about to expand in ways you can't yet imagine. And it all starts with an energetic decision. This energetic decision you make right now, in this very moment, is more powerful than any technique anyone could teach you. Because deep down, true manifestation doesn't start on paper or in repeated phrases. It starts when you decide to no longer doubt your inner strength. And I know it's scary. It's uncertain, especially when everything around you still looks the same. But let me tell you what I discovered. The physical reality is always the last place where change appears. Before that, everything is already happening in the invisible, in the vibrational field, in the space between one thought and another, between one choice and the next, between one conscious breath and an emotion embraced. That's why, even without immediate proof. I chose to trust because trust is the most transformative spiritual practice there is. And the more I trusted, the more I noticed something subtle and profound. The universe wasn't listening to me. It was reading me, reading my body, my silences, my tension, my gaze when I was alone, my reaction to what I didn't understand. And that's when I truly understood what it means to co-create with powerful intention. It's not about wishing once in a while. It's about living with intention all the time. It's turning your daily routine into a ritual of manifestation. It's putting love into what you eat, presence into what you say, respect into your decisions, gratitude even in the pauses. And yes, even on the darkest days, you can still co-create, because there's no such thing as a perfect vibration. There is vibrational awareness. There is choosing with care even when the mind screams. There is breathing deeply and aligning your energy even when the world is falling apart. There is looking in the mirror and saying, I still believe in me. And that changes everything. Not all at once, but little by little, energetically, spiritually, truly. Today, looking back, I see that every time I manifested the opposite of what I wanted, it wasn't for lack of faith. It was from too much anxiety, impatience with divine timing, wanting to control the path instead of trusting the flow. But now I understand. Manifestation isn't about how it's going to happen. It's about who you need to become while it's happening. And if you keep trying to control every step, you keep vibrating fear. But when you let go, trust, and still carry yourself as someone who is already worthy, the universe responds with surgical precision. So today, I invite you to make a pact with yourself, a pact of alignment, of vibrational love, of respect for your timing, and of reconnection with your magnetic essence. Because you have this power. You always have. You just need to remember that your energetic frequency is your responsibility. And it doesn't matter what others said. It doesn't matter how many times it went wrong. It doesn't matter how far you've strayed from yourself. You can choose now, with your heart, with your soul, with the quiet certainty that everything is falling into place from the inside out. And when you do this with truth, the wrong manifestations stop, because you stop co-creating from fear and start co-creating from wholeness. And everything, absolutely everything, begins to flow. Life stops being a battlefield and becomes a field of co-creation. You stop chasing and start receiving. You stop asking and start living as someone who already has. And that, my love, changes everything. If this message touched your heart, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who also needs to remember their power. And if you want to keep receiving words like this, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because this is just the beginning. You deserve to live your desired reality, and it's closer than you think.